Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to start in just a moment, but I'm going to invite you to come and take your seats. We're going to be starting on page 10, the words of Hine Matov.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's so nice to see you all here. Thank you for being part of our community, and thanks to everybody who's joining us from home, wherever you are. We're glad that you're with us. We're so excited that we get to have Shabbat together, and there are weeks when you feel like you need it more, weeks when you feel like you need it less, but we always need it, and we always need the community that comes along with it, and the sense of renewal that Shabbat can bring. And one of the things that brings us a great deal of joy in our congregation is when we get to celebrate with families as their young people come into a life of mitzvot and they become bat mitzvah. So Audrey's going to come up with members of her family to light the candles, and anyone who wants to join her can do so. So please come on up. We are on page 2, and I'll invite you to rise. And if you're joining from home, please light your Shabbat candles right along with us.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik להדליק נר של שבת.
You can be seated. We're going to continue with Lecha Todi, our 500-year-old prayer that reminds us of the connection between God and the Jewish people and the Sabbath day.
Lecha Todi likrat kala Yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabelayim. Lecha dodi likrat kala, yalalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat, nekabelayim. Shamor v'zachor, v'dibur דודי לקראת קלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת לקבלה. לך דודי לקראת קלה, יללי, 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 בני שבת נקבלה.
You can stay or actually have a seat for our Shalom Aleichem, which you can find on page 24. And before we sing Shalom Aleichem, just maybe turn to the person next to you, especially if there's someone nearby whom you haven't met, and say Shabbat Shalom, share your name. If you're joining from home, feel free to put your name in the chat and say hello to the community. Make a new friend.
Hi.
I hope these conversations will continue after services, not during Rabbi Sari's sermon, but right afterwards we can continue the conversation. Let's sing Shalom Aleichem and let's welcome the Sabbath together. Page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leshalom, Baruchuni leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shuvchem leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-melech Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We continue with Chatzi Kaddish. You can find it on page 26.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבו,
Amen.
בלמד יפרח ירותי וימליך מלכותי, מחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבו מברך לעולם עולם לעלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמד קודשו בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן מעלמה ויאמרו אמן.
We rise on page 28 for Baruch Hu, our call to worship. Page 31, if you wish, join with me, the top of the page. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. On page 34, I'll invite you just to take a moment to prepare for Shema Yisrael, a prayer that invites us to reflect on maybe the biggest idea imaginable, that in this vast universe, billions and billions and billions of stars, galaxies, solar systems, it's all one. Somehow it's all connected in a deep, powerful, inexplicable way. Take a moment to reflect on the biggest idea of all.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am Beshivtecha b'beitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'v'yisharecha leman tiskeru ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לעולכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. And join with me in this part. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Together, inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Together, let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Page 40, Michamocha.
Who is like you? Adonai. Who is like you? Adonai. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Mi chamocha, Elim Adonai, mi kamocha, Nedar b'kodesh, Torah tehilot, Osef ele, Torah tehilot, Osef ele.
Continue with Hashkivenu, page 42, our evening prayer, and that joy of Michamocha gives way to a type of serenity of Hashkivenu. And we ask God to spread over us and over all Israel and all the world a Sukkat Shalom, a shelter of peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomerenu lechaim, ufros aleinu Sukkat shalom lecha, v'taknenu b'etzah tova, b'etzah tova milfanecha, v'hoshienu leman shemecha. Ve'algen modeinu, ve'aser me'aleinu, oyev tever lechireinu. אצל כנפיך תסירנו, תסירנו, כי אל שומרנו מצילנו אתה, כי אל חנון ורחום אתה.
Our prayer for healing, Misha Berach L'Refuah, can be found on page 253. I'll invite you to say the name aloud of someone that you're praying for healing of body or spirit or soul. And you can also, of course, pray for yourself. Maybe you're the one in need of healing this evening. If you're joining from home, feel free to put the names of loved ones in the chat, and you'll see the names of members of our community for whom we're praying along the bottom of the screen. We ask God to bring refuah shlema, full healing, to all those in need. Our Amidah, the central prayer of our service, is traditionally done silently on Friday nights, and I think it's so beautiful that we create that opportunity for us to talk directly to God, not necessarily following a particular melody or a particular form or style, but rather just from our heart, as it were, to God's. So I'll invite you, as you're able, to please rise. Those of you joining from home, please rise in every way you're able as well. You can start on page 48. It goes to page 62 in the prayer book, but feel free to depart from these words and add your own words. Take a few moments to talk to God.
While I would never want to give away trade secrets, I can tell you that when I meet with a wedding couple, I have a clear homework directive. Make a timeline of your relationship from the beginning until this moment, I tell them, and give no further instructions. Later, we'll talk it through. I want all the color commentary on their first trip together, or when they met each other's friends, or even their first argument. I do want to know all those moments, but what I really want to understand is how they will tell the story. Because every family has an origin story, but really none of us, or rarely do we agree on where it begins. I'll notice that one partner will begin their timeline with the first date, while the other starts with the first swipe. I never remember if it's left or right, which is the good one, so whichever one. One partner actually begins with their friendship with the mutual friend who introduced them. Another starts years back at the very first concert they attended of the band they both loved that eventually brought them together. Same couple, ultimately same story, but different beginnings. Same facts, but different narratives. Now, our tradition knows something about this also. On Passover, our tradition's grand night of storytelling, the rabbis teach that we begin with degradation, mignut, and end l'shavach, and we end with praise. I like it. It's clear, it's linear, it's just the sort of plan a rule follower like me really appreciates. Only the rabbis then immediately ask, well, which degradation? One rabbi answers it beginning with Genesis, beginning with Abraham, and says that our disgrace is that we once were idol worshipers. The other rabbi comes along and starts with Exodus and says, no. Our disgrace was our enslavement. The very same Jewish story, maybe leading to the very same place, with two very different beginnings. Or, more timely, we can take our Torah this week, which finds the Israelites wandering in the desert, hungry and kvetching. This is not a beginning of a story. It is, in the words of Brene Brown, the messy middle. The Israelites have already left Egypt. They've crossed the sea. They've stood at Sinai. The covenant has been given. The Mishkan has been built. They are no longer slaves, but have not yet reached the promised land. They're somewhere in between. And perhaps that's precisely why they start telling stories. Because when we find ourselves in the messy middle, Brown teaches, we often try to make sense of where we are by telling ourselves a story about how we got there. So this week, where do our Israelites begin? Not with the splitting of the sea, not with slavery in Egypt, not with the Ten Commandments, not the golden calf, nor the miraculous fire of God's presence. Our Israelites this week begin with fish. Zacharnu et hadaga asher nochal b'mitzrayim chinam. We remember the fish that we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. It always strikes me as a little bit comical, but tonight I want us to listen to the way they share this information. Not we ate fish, not there was fish. Zacharnu. We remember this fish that we ate. We remember is an act of storytelling. The Israelites are constructing for themselves a narrative about who they are and where they've come from. But really, of all the chapters available to them, miracles and wonders and plagues and seas splitting, why start here? Partly, I think, or maybe entirely, because the chapter we choose to start with becomes the lens through which we interpret everything else. So if Egypt begins with fish, then wilderness looks like deprivation. But if Egypt begins with slavery, well, then the wilderness looks like freedom. And nothing has changed except the beginning. Over the last several weeks, I have found myself teaching some of the foundational narratives of modern Jewish life. And I will tell you that even now, putting together a single class on anti-Semitism or Zionism requires asking a surprisingly difficult question. I have to ask, where does that story begin? I should confess here that I outsourced the Zionism lecture to an outside expert, but he began with exactly the same question. He said, where does the story of Zionism begin? Is it with Herzl? Is it with Russian pogroms or the Iraqi Farhud? Is it with centuries and centuries of Jewish longing for Zion? Is it with our multiple expulsions? Is it with the modern emancipation? And I took our students through a riveting hour-and-a-half lecture asking, where does the story of anti-Semitism begin? Does it begin with the destruction of the temple? With the rise of Christianity? With the blood libels? With modern nationalism? Nothing changes except the beginning. This year, Rabbi Yoshi gifted our clergy team with the opportunity to learn from one of my most beloved teachers, Rabbi Dr. Michael Marmer. In his recent book, Living the Letters, he uses the Hebrew alphabet to explore some of the central questions and tensions of our modern Jewish lives. The chapter we studied most recently is called Reshit, beginning, and it takes its name not only from the beginning of Genesis, from Bereshit, but from the praise we will read in just a few moments in our prayer for the state of Israel, which describes the modern state of Israel as Reshit Tzmichat Gulatenu, the beginning flowering of our redemption. And in introducing the chapter to us, he posed that very question, which seems to now be following me. He says, where does that story begin? He sat with us and asked, if you're telling the story, even just of the last 2 years in Israel, where do you start? He said, do you start with October 6th, when all was as before? Do you start with October 7th, with just crisis and utter devastation? Or do you start with October 8th, with pain and anger and even a thirst for revenge? Or, he asked, do you start in 2005, with a disengagement from Gaza? In 1967, when Israel gained control of Gaza? Do you start in 1948? How far back do you go? And when does the story begin? Because as he said also, stories never really begin in just one place, but where you choose to begin determines how you tell the story. And maybe this helps explain why so many of our conversations, particularly about Israel, feel impossible right now. If you follow Jewish press, you may have noticed that within the Reform movement and far beyond it, there are some tough arguments about Zionism and anti-Zionism, about Jewish safety and Palestinian dignity, about history and responsibility and power. The conversations are painful and they're urgent and they matter. But with these past few weeks, I've been wondering if we enter them assuming that we disagree only about the conclusions. Maybe we do. That would kind of be a little neater and easier. But maybe we're also disagreeing about the beginnings, because again, one person might be beginning with October 7th and another with October 8th. One person is starting with 1967, another with 1948, and another centuries before that. One person might begin with Palestinian displacement and dispossession, and another person beginning with centuries of Jewish exile, and yet another beginning with the dream of return. But perhaps none of this is new and particular to this moment, not in Jewish history, not in our lives. Because long before we were arguing about Israel, the rabbis understood, again, that where we begin a story shapes the very story we tell. Because if Egypt begins with fish, then the wilderness looks like deprivation. And if Egypt begins with slavery, well, then the wilderness looks like freedom. Nothing has changed except the beginning. So perhaps that is worth remembering the next time we find ourselves telling a story about who we are and where we've been, and particularly maybe where we have headed. And perhaps even more, it's worth listening for when someone else's story begins. So where do you start? And why do you start there? Shabbat Shalom. I was thinking about that very same question, actually, as we're thinking about, as we lead up to July 4th, and we start to think, right, it's America's 250th, and I thought to myself, wow, there's a lot of ways to tell that story, too. And a lot of ways that story will be told over the next weeks and months and even years. And so with all of those different ways of telling the story, I invite us to Maybe set all of those chapters aside and focus on the chapter being written right now and offer together a prayer for the United States, a prayer for our country, page 258. We say, O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need. Keep our eyes open to the wonders of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit, as together we say, Amen. A prayer for the state of Israel.
Avinu shebashamayim, Tzor Yisrael v'gohalo, Marechet Medinat Yisrael, Reshit tzmichat Geulateinu.
That phrase, O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, Reshit Tzmichat Geulateinu, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. So in just a moment, we turn to the Kiddush for Erev Shabbat. And I'll just note another one of those dichotomies, another one of those places where the story might begin in two different ways as the Kiddush itself. We say it is both Zikaron L'Maaseh V'Reshit, it is the remembrance of the works of creation, and Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim, also the remembrance of our exodus from Egypt. And so we hold both of those. Two beginnings, two stories, and we also invite two beginnings and two stories. Two of our B'nai Mitzvah. We're going to invite Ethan and Audrey, who are going to come up to lead Kiddush with us. But before we do that, this is often a season of celebrations. And so we want to invite, if you're at home and want to share any smachot with us, please put those in the chat so we can celebrate with you. But also, if you are here and have any celebrations, I just want to note Davis, our Kiddush-loving friend here, graduated from pre-K this week, so we can wish him a mazel tov. Maybe we have some other birthdays.
To be clear, this is grape juice. This is grape juice, not wine. What do we have? We got a new baby in your family. Lior Micah.
Mazel tov.
Beautiful. Happy
Happy birthday.
What? How many? 92? Come on.
I would not have guessed that.
Happy birthday.
Happy
I'm not going to
birthday.
ask how many. 75. Fantastic.
As is my son, so I'll add him to the, he is.
Jacob Cutter.
Jacob
All
Carter.
right.
And we'll also just send birthday wishes to Cantor Emma, who is celebrating with her family. It's her birthday today, so happy birthday, Cantor Emma. Yes.
Happy birthday, Cantor. What's your?
Oh, babe, what's up?
Do you have a birthday?
No.
More
Wow.
graduations.
Mazel
It is
tov. Lots of
graduation season. Let's all stand. And do we have one more, please?
We do have a birthday. No. Wow,
Fantastic.
big week.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. Page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh.
I see we have some friends here who have not yet become bar or bat mitzvah. So if you are under the age of bar or bat mitzvah, Davis is actually going to show you what to do. We're going to invite you to come forward to open the ark. We'll invite everyone to remain standing as we continue with Aleinu on page 282.
עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם. אנחנו קוראים ומשחמים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
a little bit also of Baha'alotcha. It's this weird time of the Jewish year where different communities are reading different, you can have a seat, are reading different Torah portions. The beginning of Baha'alotcha, before we get to the fish, starts with a commandment to kindle light. It says to Aaron, Baha'alotcha et hanerot, when you are going to Aaron and his sons are responsible every day, not for the Ner Tamid, but for the candelabra, the menorah that was in the tabernacle. And they'd have to go in and light it. And the rabbis make much of, and Rabbi Yoshi taught really beautifully about sort of why they use that verb. It's a strange verb. It's the same verb that we use when we offer someone an aliyah to the Torah, or when someone makes aliyah. It's about lifting up or going up, as opposed to lahadlik, right? The blessing that we say each Friday night. And one of the things that I was thinking about today, I lead a Kaddish minyan on Fridays, and I was thinking about the way the people who come before us are our Baha'alotchim. They're the people who light for us, and this idea that they sort of stay and wait until our light is kindled and can stand on its own. That's the commandment that Aaron is given, that you have to hold your light there until the other light catches and can shine on its own. And so in that spirit, I'm going to offer the poem by Chana Senesh, Yesh Kochavim. Yesh Kochavim she'oram magia arza, rak ka'asher hem atzmam avdu ve'enam. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. And as we live our days, these are the ways we remember. So as we prepare for Kadisha Tome, for the mourner's Kaddish, if there's anyone here who is in a period of Shiva, the 7 days following the loss of a loved one, we'll invite you, if you wish, to rise and share their name, or from home, share their name with us. And if anyone is in a period of Shloshim, the first month following the loss of a loved one, again at home. If anyone is in the period of Shana, it's the first year following the loss of a loved one, we'll invite you, if you wish, to rise and share their name. And if this time of year, this time of so many celebrations, is also a time of Yartzeit, and you're remembering someone on this Shabbat, we invite you to rise and share their name. So for all of those names and names that each of us carry with me and lights that guided us, we invite you to rise as a community, page 294. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabah, bi'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chaye echon u'vyom echon, u'v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevorach, leolam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who sends peace send peace to those who mourn and comfort to all. Together we say, amen. Just some gratitude. We're supposed to start our day with gratitude in our tradition, so why not also end our day with gratitude as well? Thank you for our whole team that makes this happen, to Susan for putting together our Nash and giving us a chance to come together before services, Brian and Jack for our sound, Brendan and Roz who are really making it possible for people at home to join us, Natalia, thank you for making people feel welcome, and Noel for making people feel welcome online. And as always, to Dr. Tully and to Jeff for just making the music so beautiful and soul-lifting, so thank you. And thanks to everyone who joins us here on campus. If you're joining us at home, a big mazel tov to our B'nai Mitzvah tomorrow. We are looking forward to celebrating with you. And again, we hope that whatever conversation started at the beginning of the service, we can continue with a little bit of challah before
Now
we
we
leave.
can talk about Rabbi's beautiful sermon after the service.
It's true.
We can ask her questions. Thank you. And thank you, Cantor.
Yeah.
Oseh shalom.
Oseh shalom imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh shalom imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.